Motherfucking Mortal Kombat. You don't get much more badass than that. When this sumbitch came out, it changed the landscape of gaming entirely. It garnered praise and a ton of controversy. Even the government was trying to ban it until they came up with the bright idea of ratings. It's crazy to think with how violent the series is today, this caused an uproar. Nowadays, the gore isn't too crazy, but back in '92, holy shit. It was unlike anything we'd ever seen before. While Street Fighter II was revolutionary for fighting games, Mortal Kombat was revolutionary for video games as a whole. The game was turned into a comic book, cartoon, movie, live-action series, trading cards, and of course the album by the Immortals with that legendary single, Techno Syndrome, which became the Mortal Kombat theme. But the whole album just pummels you with a meteor shower of sizzling hot beats! One of the biggest things about this game was the special moves and the fatalities, which all required complex button combinations, which we had to commit to memory. You know how much of our brain power that used up? We were sitting in school and supposed to be listening to our history lesson, but instead we're tuning out the teacher and just thinking forward high kick, down up low punch. You know, we're all hopped up on GamePro magazines. We can't wait to get to the arcade. So once the bell rings and school lets out, that's the time to let it rip, to let it fucking loose, run in the bus screaming, Mortal Kombat! Yeah, just like the kid in the commercial. I mean, he goes out in the streets and screams Mortal Kombat as if his life depends on it, with raw emotions tearing through like a shockwave, paving a radius of mighty force emanating from the ground where he stands. And then a crowd marches out, as if they heard the call to action, as if to say, damn straight, Mortal Kombat. Because this isn't just a game, this is a way of fucking life. The commercial, of course, was announcing that Mortal Kombat was coming to home consoles. The year of our Lord, September 13th, 1993. Mortal fucking Monday. This would be the day a crowd of edgy 90s teens gathered in the streets to celebrate. Because when it was in the arcades, it was always surrounded and guarded by bigger kids, the quarter hogs. But now, we'd be taking it back to our own homes. That commercial announcing Mortal Monday was like a call of freedom, a call that begged to be reckoned with, a call that defined a generation. Mortal Kombat! While the definitive way to play Mortal Kombat will always be the arcade, people couldn't wait to bring the game home and start ripping out hearts and spines from their couches. Each port is more or less a fair recreation of the arcade version, however they all have minor and sometimes major differences that keep the game from being 100% there. We still ate it up though. Mortal Kombat's launch went down as one of the biggest game releases in history, and we all crowded around our living rooms to witness it in all its violent glory. So, how do all these ports stack up against each other? Like this. First, let's look at the Super Nintendo version. This port was published by Acclaim and developed by Sculptured Software. After turning it on, you get this little animation of Goro walking up and punching the Acclaim logo. Yeah, and of course, Acclaim is the company that bought LJN. Yeah, punch that logo, Goro. Yeah. Punch the fuck out of it. Yeah, I could watch him punch that fucking logo all day. So, right off the bat, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. The thing that everybody talks about is that the Super Nintendo version was censored and is infamous for removing the blood or replacing it with sweat. The sweat thing? If that's really supposed to be sweat, you know what? That's kind of disgusting. I think it's even more disgusting than blood. I mean, how sweaty are these fighters to begin with? They only just started fighting and like a gallon of sweat came out of Scorpion. I hope they're slamming down Gatorade in between matches, otherwise they're going to have some serious dehydration issues. In my opinion, the first Mortal Kombat was never known to be a tight and precise fighting game. It was more of a mindless blood sport that you and your friends played for fun. And it was just the style of it, how it was basically like Enter the Dragon, the game. But removing the blood just makes this a mediocre fighter on the Super Nintendo, with Street Fighter II Turbo out the same year. But sadly, compared to all the other issues this game has, the lack of blood is only minor. But before we get into this shit, let's talk about what this game does well. For one, the game looks pretty damn close to the arcade. The graphics are clean, the sound is decent, and the voice samples sound pretty clear. Right. But all that is shit on by some of the most frustrating controls I've ever felt. The game just feels unresponsive. There's been so many times where I'm hitting buttons and nothing happens. Sometimes I'll be nowhere near the enemy, but able to sweep them infinitely from a mile away. So another thing that blows is getting hit while shooting a projectile cancels your projectile. In the arcade version, if I shoot ice but get hit by the opponent's projectile, my ice still hits them, but in the Super Nintendo version, it disappears. I don't know why they would program it like this. All this really comes to a head when you hit the endurance levels. Oh my lord, the endurance levels. I spent more time on these 3 levels than I did on the rest of the game. Having to beat 2 opponents while struggling to control the game makes these 3 levels a shit show. I can't stand it when I beat the first opponent and the second opponent comes in and cheap shots me. In the arcade, these parts are tough, but they still seem fair. It really does come down to a test of endurance, but the Super Nintendo version is a test of patience. The computer gets really cheap here too. It's demoralizing. Having to continue over and over just to lose when you're so close to the end is really painful. What's worse is Goro and Shang Tsung are fucking pushovers. I destroyed them on my first try. I was kinda disappointed. Can you have some fucking balance here? And speaking of disappointing, let's take a look at the fatalities. In every version of the game, the only people whose fatalities stay the same are Scorpion, Sonya, and Liu Kang. I never really understood Liu Kang's fatality. He flops all around and uppercuts you. It's awful. Kano's is also kind of the same, but I don't understand what he's ripping out of Liu Kang. I guess it's his sweat gland or something? Sub-Zero loses his famous head rip and instead freezes and shatters you. That makes sense, actually. I think it's a more appropriate fatality for Sub-Zero, but what I don't understand is how do they scream after being frozen and shattered? Raiden's fatality is pretty cool too. He electrocutes you into dust. To be honest, I actually like this over his original fatality. The pit fatality is pretty lame. Without blood, it just looks wrong. When Johnny Cage gets knocked down, he just chills out down there. He looks completely fine, like by some miracle he fell all the way down and missed the spikes. Speaking of Johnny Cage, his fatality is by far the worst in the game, and maybe even the whole series. He kicks you in the chest and his foot disappears while they just flail around. I mean, this right here is the epitome of not even trying. I mean, you couldn't even try to make that happen. His foot disappears before it even touches. What is going on? Well, this gets my award for the shittiest fatality. Alright, well, let's move on to the next one. The Genesis version. Now, let me tell you straight out, this is a deal breaker to me, because 3 buttons? 3 buttons for Mortal Kombat? How does that work? Both high punch and low punch share the A button. A regular tap is a low punch. If you're holding a direction, it turns it to high punch. B and C are both the kick buttons, and start is block. So it can be done, but the thing is, you just gotta get a 6-button controller. If you have the 6-button controller, you're fine. The main advantage this one has over the Super Nintendo is the blood. Yep, it has the blood. After you put in a code, that is. Without the code, you get censored fatalities and no blood. The censored fatalities in this one are actually worse than the Super Nintendo version. Sub-Zero just uppercuts you into the air, Johnny Cage shadow kicks you off the screen, Raiden shoots lightning and you fall, and Kano steals your wallet? He steals your wallet. Yeah, I mean, I guess he takes your wallet and the shock of it kills you. There's absolutely no reason to play this without the code. The pit is actually turned off without the code, so fuck this shit. Put in that blood code. God damn it. Reset and hit ABACABB or ABACAB at the text in the beginning. There's also a second code called the Dullard code. You get this one by hitting down, up, left, left, A, right, down at the start screen. Get it? It spells Dullard. Besides unlocking blood and the real fatalities, you also get a cheat menu that lets you do some cool stuff. You can make it so the computer always uses a fatality, make Reptile appear before every fight, give yourself infinite continues, and make the head of Fergus McGovern bob around the moon. Fergus McGovern was the founder of Probe Software, and his face pops up as an Easter egg in their Mortal Kombat ports. He shows up in Mortal Kombat 2 as a secret fatality, the Furgality. Yeah, no joke, the Furgality. But anyway, back to the Genesis port. At first glance, it doesn't look as good as the Super Nintendo version. The colors are all muted and everyone has these red pixels around them. But hey, fuck it, there's blood, right? That's all you need. And the controls are actually responsive and don't feel like there's 8 seconds of lag. The music has that signature Genesis feel and actually sounds groovier than the Super Nintendo. I mean, listen to the Courtyard music on the Super Nintendo. And compare it to the Genesis. So, overall, it's a decent port with flaws that don't harm the overall experience. Of course, you have to have the 6-button controller, though. Now, let's fuck it all up and play Mortal Kombat on Game Boy. Yeah, can you believe I'm doing this? You want to bring Mortal Kombat with you wherever you go, huh? Well, to that I say don't. Just don't. Wait till you get home, because this is easily the worst version of Mortal Kombat I've played so far. This one was also made by Probe, but they must have rushed through this and spent all their game development talent on the Genesis version. The music is a mess of screeches and farts. It just sounds like ass and a half. The game only has 6 characters instead of 7. You can't fit one more guy? They could do 6, but they just couldn't do 7. Johnny Cage is left out on this one, but I'm pretty sure he's cool with it. Liu Kang has one big tooth. Raiden looks like someone walked in on him in the bathroom. Scorpion and Sub-Zero are barely distinguishable. And Sonya has these dark, soulless eyes. She freaks me the fuck out. The game just gets worse and worse as you play it. If you thought the Super Nintendo was unresponsive, this game changes the entire definition of unresponsive. There's a good second of input lag on all the moves. Lots of the time, you kick through the enemy. How did I not hit them? Am I a ghost and didn't know it? Is that the twist? Trying to pull off a special move is a fucking feat. Sometimes I get them and other times I'll do all the same shit only to get my ass handed to me while I flail around. And don't even think of trying out a fatality. They might as well not even be in the game, because I tried and I couldn't even do one of them. And it doesn't help the Game Boy has only 2 buttons. Yeah, if I had a problem with the Genesis having 3, Game Boy only has 2. How do you play Mortal Kombat with 2? And yeah, okay, the Game Boy has limitations. There's certain things they just couldn't help. But you know what? Mortal Kombat 2 on Game Boy was pretty decent. So I think they just fucked up here. Even if I could pull the fatalities off, guess what? They're awful. For example, Kano just kicks you in the air. Yeah, not worth the frustration. It's like right after they made the Genesis version, they said, oh yeah, you gotta make a Game Boy version too. And they were like, oh shit, we only have 7 minutes. And this is what they gave us. After playing through it for almost an hour, I managed to get to Goro, but boy, he fucked my shit up. In the first round, he was super easy, but then he went into like a panic mode and decimated me. I lost all my continues and just couldn't force myself to give a shit. Game over. Boy, Nintendo's really getting the shitty end of the Mortal Kombat port stick. Well, hopefully Sega can salvage it with the Game Gear version and round it out nicely. This one has a blood code, and it's in color! Oh, and unlike the Game Boy, has Johnny Cage. But no Kano. Overall, it's okay, but compared to the Game Boy, it's legendary. I mean, if you're looking for Mortal Kombat on the go, this is the one you want. All the fatalities are here too, just Game Gearified. Sadly, there's no pit fatality, even though the only 2 levels you get are Goro's Lair and the Pit. The game does have some issues. It looks real choppy and slow. The background always jitters when you move, and the game feels like the characters are underwater. And for some reason, Goro is shorter in this version. Looks so weird. Goro's supposed to be the most intimidating boss in the game. He's a huge 4-armed monster man and the prince of the Shokan race. He commands the armies of Outworld, but here he just looks goofy. It's like when they made tiny Goros as pets in the Judge Dredd arcade game. Maybe we'll do that sometime. Well, it's passable, but still kind of shitty. And I can't end on something that's kind of shitty, you know? So instead, let's end on some real ass vomit. Mortal Kombat on Tiger Electronics. 2 of them! 2! Yeah, because why the fuck not? And would you know, Hasbro is bringing these things back? So the timing's perfect. So the first of the 2 was a standard Tiger Electronic in '93, and the commercial was hilarious. It was a bunch of kids on a playground trying to get rid of the damn game. Even the kids in the commercial didn't want this thing. But then in '94, they made a Tiger Barcodes version, or Barcods. Yeah, let's see what Tiger did to Mortal Kombat. Yeah, look at this. That Tiger fucking mauled it! Unfortunately, my Tiger handheld of Mortal Kombat doesn't work, you know, so I can't play it. All I see is a jumbled mess of a person on the screen, so we could just forget about this one. Except for the fact that they made Tiger handheld emulators. What the fuck? Yeah, Tiger handheld emulators. I'm not even kidding. I think it's safe to say we've officially hit the bottom of the porto potty when it comes to video game emulation. A human being had to actually scan all the artwork in the games and program them to work on a MAME emulator. So what you're seeing here is an emulated version of the Tiger Electronic Mortal Kombat. And now it sucks balls in HD. Surprisingly, the game features all 7 original characters, as well as Goro and Shang Tsung. Wow! The Game Boy and Game Gear version couldn't even get all 7. Well, that's 1 point for Tiger Electronics. Go get 'em, Tiger! But each character is just the same with graphics added. Sonya is the worst of all because she shares the same body as Johnny Cage and Liu Kang. There actually do exist button combinations where you can pull off special moves. This is also how you do the finishing moves, which just knocks them out. It's shitty, but honestly, I think I'd rather play this than the Game Boy version. Moving on, we have the Tiger Barcods version. This one's a bit bigger and actually has real sound instead of just beeps and boops. There's only 4 selectable characters in this one: Liu Kang, Raiden, Sub-Zero, and Scorpion. And Goro's the only boss, no Shang Tsung. The special moves and fatalities are the same as in the other Tiger game, but this time when you pull off a fatality, the opponent turns into a skeleton, which is kinda cool for a Tiger game. I mean, who would have thought? Fatalities in a Tiger game? And one really weird thing about this is that it comes with trading cards. No, not these trading cards. These kind of trading cards, which are the kind that you scan to get all kinds of power-ups and shit. I guess that's kind of cool, but you never know what the cards are going to do. Some cards give your character or the opponent more strength, defense, life, etc. But some cards outright kill you. Why would you want a card that kills you before the fight even starts? What is the point? And it's not like there's any descriptions on these cards that really tell you exactly what they do. It's just a guessing game, so they threw the death ones on here just to be assholes. There's also a card that kills the opponent without even having to fight them. Just scan it and they die. You can actually beat the entire game by just scanning this card. Yeah, so in case you're planning to speed run a Tiger game, you could just scan this 10 times. I don't see the point. Why even turn the damn thing on to begin with? Well, those are all the ports shat out on Mortal Monday, as well as some extra dingleberries. I know I missed some other ports like the Sega CD version, but that one is mostly the same as the Genesis with some enhancements. Also, I mainly wanted to stick to the original console releases. And the Tiger ones needed to be shit on because they exist. Well, to this day, Mortal Kombat is still one of gaming's biggest franchises. After 28 years, it's still going strong. And even though it was inspired by Street Fighter, it set itself apart and inspired all kinds of other fighting games, many of which are clones or rip-offs of Mortal Kombat.
Ghostbusters is one of my favorite movies from the 1980s. And it's a movie that still stands up to this day. It's because of its great cast, ghost-busting fun, and humor that transcends generations.
Let's talk seriously. Now, for the entrapment, we're going to have to ask you for 4 big ones, $4,000 for them.
I had no idea it'd be so much. I won't pay it.
Well, that's all right. We can just put it right back in there. Thank you.
We certainly can, Dr. Venkman.
No!
And that song? Gotta love that song. When I think back on the video game of the same name, however, I had pixelated nightmares. This game just wasn't bad, it was god-awful. Now, in order to review Ghostbusters here, which came out in 1988, well, we're gonna have to rewind all the way back to 1984 to check out the Atari version. And before checking out this Atari version, well, we have to rewind even more back to 1983 when the movie was just being greenlit to get the full scope of this story. So yep, the year is 1983, and the movie studio that greenlit Ghostbusters gave the director of this film just under a year to write, film, edit, and release Ghostbusters in time for a summer 1984 movie release. The end result, of course, was a rush job that worked out absolutely perfectly. But when Activision picked up the rights to create the Ghostbusters video game, they were also given a rush job timeline of only 6 weeks to create, code, playtest, and release this Atari game, which would also release just in time for the movie. Wait a minute, 6 weeks? Never heard this story before. E.T.? Oh my god, not this bullshit again. And we all know how that story went. And of course, since this video game was rushed through production, we were given another game that was riddled with problems. Terrible controls, weird gameplay, and I don't even know how to get the hell off this screen. Ah! Come on! I've got one red button, it's not even working! Piece of shit. So yep, this video is nothing but, well, a piece of shit, like I said. But I have to say the most annoying part of this video game is that you spend most of your time driving to every destination on this screen. And of course, the main problem is look how big of a monster dick car they give us. And they couldn't shrink this shit down just a bit? Come on. This thing practically takes over most of the screen. Like a dick. In the game of Ghostbusters, why are we driving everywhere? I just want to sit down and bust some ghosts. Like, right here. And of course, this is over before we know it. And we're back to, more driving. Ugh, about to run your ass into a tree. In fact, the main reason why you drive around in this game so much is because at one point, the creator of this game actually intended this to be a driving game. A Ghostbusters driving game? Can you actually imagine what that shit would have looked like? Oh, for crying out loud.
What has that got to do with it?
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Now fast forward to 1988, which coincidentally is the first year that the Nintendo Power magazine came out, and we find that the Nintendo is gaining steam. And this is also the year that the Nintendo keeps increasing in popularity. So Activision decided that, hey, wait a minute, hey, let's bring Ghostbusters to this console. After all, it was a kick-ass movie. But instead of just creating an all-new game off the hit movie, well, they decided to dust off that old Atari game and just upgrade the graphics and gameplay. But the problem is, you just can't shine a turd and get diamonds. Actually, you get a golden shiny turd, like this bullshit right here. Wait a minute, did I just pee on this? Well, anyway, start this game up, and we instantly see the differences and similarities of the original Atari game. But don't let this game deceive you, because we're gonna have to exercise the shit out of this satanic hellspawn of a game, because there's hardly any fun Easter egg references from the movie here. You want ghosts? Well, how about some generic ghosts? Want that creepy ghost librarian? The taxi driver ghost? Or Slimer to show up? Well, here, we have this, white blobby bullshit. What the hell is that? Want iconic scenes and backgrounds like this elevator or the ballroom to run around in? Well, check this out. We've got a gas station. Gas station? Of all the upgrades this game gives us, some asshole really thought we could use a gas station? I'm about to shove this pump up your ass, Activision. You know what? I'm done with this game. I can't take it anymore. Get out of my way. I'm out of here. Don't you dare try to stop me. You slimed me. Either that or he jizzed all over my face. Gross. Alright, so once getting back into the game, we get to drive around the screen until one of these city blocks lights up, signifying that there's a ghost to bust.
We got one!
Yep, we sure do. Head over here and... what's that say there? I can't get in because we need a beam. how's my character not have a beam already? You'd think as a Ghostbuster, you'd be at the ready for this kind of shit, but no, this is the Activision version of Ghostbusters. But alright, fine, I'll play ball. If we head over to the shop here, we can go pick one up. Now at this point, I'm going to do some foreshadowing here. I'll let you guys know that this damn equipment gathering bullshit has led to some childhood gaming trauma that's lasted over 20 years. But hold on, we'll get to all this. I just have to work up to it so I can let this shit simmer for a while. So just like with the Atari version, we'll be driving everywhere in this game. And on the way to our destinations, we'll have to avoid all kinds of other cars and obstacles, like we're playing a driving game like Spy Hunter or something. Oh, come on, I don't have time for this. Alright, so once at the shop, we have our beam, so pick that up. And we have all this money left over, so let's grab a few more items here. Not sure what this stuff does, but sounds fancy enough, so guess I gotta have it. Alright, now time to bust some ghosts. Well, not so fast there, buddy, because now it looks like we need a trap. Now wait a minute, where the hell was the trap at? I don't remember seeing that at the store. Now if you've already played this game before and you know where the trap is, well, I want you to hold on to this precious moment for a few seconds while I paint you a picture. Imagine it's 1988, and only a handful of games have been released on the NES. Now all of them are pretty much straightforward in gameplay. Now I want you to imagine a 10-year-old Chris going to the video game store to rent this game for the weekend. I start playing the game, I head to the shop, purchase the ghost beam, and now I'm ready to bust some ghosts. But the game says, hey wait a minute, you need a ghost trap. Well, maybe I overlooked this item at the store. So I do more driving, head back, and look at that, no ghost trap, just like I thought. Well, maybe this is a scavenger hunt type of game like Castlevania 2. Well, maybe our trap is at the HQ building. So do more driving, more speeding, and nope, not there either. Well, maybe the trap is at this GS icon. So I do more driving, and we arrive at the game's gas station. Which, why is this feature in the game if you're busting ghosts? This has nothing to do with Ghostbusters. But where the hell is that trap? And I can't go anywhere else in this game because I need the one thing I can't find. Drive back to the shop? Not there, asshole. Try the HQ? No go either. Great, let's just drive and drive and drive some more. What the hell? Ah, damn it, I ran out of gas? You pinheaded prick. So where the hell is this thing? I spent the whole weekend trying to figure this problem out. But nope, didn't find it, which equaled a whole video game weekend ruined for the 10-year-old Chris. Now fast forward 20 years later when I'm first starting to do the Irate Gamer series, and I thought, hey, you know what? I'm gonna pick up that Ghostbusters game and see if I can find that trap again. Because surely by now the answer to what I'm looking for is online. And it was then when I made this startling conclusion. Oh, it's in the shop. You just have to keep pushing down to reach the second page. A second page? 20 goddamn years and there was a second page all this time? What the fuck?
Oh, I hate you. I hate your family. I hate your Atari game. I hate your sequel. And don't even get me started on that 2016 movie reboot garbage. Ah!
I cannot believe that there was a second page this entire time. And there's nothing even on this page to signify that there's a second one. An arrow would have been nice, or a page number, but no, we don't get any of that. Thanks, Activision. Thanks a lot, you Donkey Kong slub my ding-dong all day long, you fucking dickface. And if this trap is so valuable that you can't even advance in the game without it, then why the hell are they placing it on page 2? Instead, they place this fucking ghost horn right here for us to look at. 30 years later and I still don't know what the hell this thing does. And besides that, there are less than 10 items you can find in this shop. You mean to tell me you can't fit this all on one page? Damn it, Activision! 20 years! 20 damn years! Alright, so now that I finally have my trap, well, I'm so happy I'm about to bust my nut all over these damn ghosts. Because now, I can finally see what the hell lies next in this game. Well, after I'm done driving my happy ass all the way over there. Yep, and it's about damn time. Here we have new screens to look at, and they are glorious. Just capture the ghost in your streams, bring them to the trap, hit the button, and bam! Easy money in the bank. Alright, and I got all 4. And they were even nice enough to give us a couple different scenes to run around in. Drop the trap, bust some ghosts, and don't cross those streams.
Don't cross the streams.
Unfortunately, it would have been nice to have that ballroom scene thrown into the mix, but since they can't even create a shopping experience worth a shit, why hold it against them at this point? And now you might be asking yourselves, well, what the hell am I gathering up all these ghosts for? Well, it's to collect enough money to upgrade your equipment to take on the final boss, which is located in this building right here, marked Zool. And the only way to get inside this building is to advance far enough in the game until it unlocks for you. Hot damn, it's open! Head over to the building and... more driving? Ah, damn it! Now the weird thing about this game is that you can drive around, bust ghosts, and upgrade your equipment until the building unlocks, or you can take the easy route and just sit there for 5 minutes and wait for the Zool building to automatically open up by itself. Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. I can just sit here and wait for 5 minutes for that PKE meter at the bottom of the screen to ratchet up to around 9,000, and the building just opens up automatically? Are you serious? What the fuck is that about? Who the hell codes a game that if you just sit there, this building will magically unlock for you without doing anything? You know, this little feature would have been nice to know about 30 years ago. And once getting in the Zool building, well, we see our 3 Ghostbusters heading inside. Wait a minute, 3 Ghostbusters? Where the hell's Winston at? I mean, after all, this is the upgraded version, and we can't even get a Winston in the only cutscene of the entire game? Oh, but just wait, it gets worse. Now we enter into this stairwell, which, nice, actually based off the movie. But now we're entering into a whole new shitstorm, because to reach the final boss of this game, well, we have to climb all these steps. And the main problem lies in actually climbing these bastards. Now during your entire trip up the stairwell, these 4 ghosts right here are going to stay on screen at all times. And of course the main problem in this stairwell is to move forward, well, you can't just press the directional pad, you have to actually push the A button, which will move you forward 1 step. Oh come on, that's it! Press that button again, and you'll move another small step forward. Oh my god, are you shitting me right now? Well, I wish I was, because you'll be trying to get up these stairs and pushing this button so many dang times that your fingers will start bleeding from the repetition. Oh, I just had to get that trap, didn't I? Ugh. And when these ghosts start coming at you, there's nowhere to run. I'm 3 guys deep here, which makes me a huge-ass target. And good luck trying to defend yourself here, because the other button does jack shit. All you can do is drop some ghost food that you bought at the shop, which will attract them to it, so you can climb the stairs safely, but the problem is, as soon as you move off the screen, well, the ghosts just come back at you again. Ah, get the hell away from me! Oh, my poor fingers! Now I tried as hard as I could to get up this stairwell, and the best I could do was, well, reaching stairwell 11. And if you're wondering how many floors actually exist in this level, well, there's a grand total of 22, which is also the actual number of floors in the movie. Look, I appreciate the attempt to be movie accurate here, but why give us 22 floors of bullshit when you can't even make Slimer the right color? My god, when does the insanity end? And just look at this kill screen you get. Bad luck, you cannot save the city of New York. Well, you didn't really give me a chance there, buddy, with all this bullshit button pressing going on. Couldn't even give me a proton pack to defend myself. Maybe if you took more than 6 weeks to produce this game, I could have had a chance. Why not flip us off too while you're at it? Now at this point I could probably just pop in the Game Genie and fast forward my happy ass all the way up to the top of the stairwell, but I'm sure a bunch of assholes will pop out of the woodwork and go, "Oh my god, AVGN did that, you can't do that." Yeah, I know. So you know what I'll do? I'll just montage my way up to the top.
It's the final countdown.
What the hell? Copyright claim? Ah, damn it, YouTube, you suck! That was a perfect song too. Alright, well fine. Instead of speed racing my way to the top with a Game Genie because AVGN did just that, I'll just go ahead and transition myself to the top of this stupid thing. Alright, so you guys happy now? There's no AVGN copying, no shit pickle, no nothing. So, alright, leave me alone. I'm just trying to get through this game and then I'll be out of here. Toasty! Alright, so now we finally arrive at probably one of the most cool screens of the game. We've got Stay Puft down here, Stone Dogs, and White Slimers. Alright, fine, I don't care at this point, but we've also got the main boss of this Zool building, Zool herself. Wait a minute, that's Zool. This is Gozer. Well, this is confusing. Why the hell did they call this the Zool building when it's clearly the Gozer building? How did they get stuff like this wrong while still managing to accurately give us 22 floors of ghost-busting nonsense? This selective movie accuracy thing just pisses me off. Toasty! And of course, true to fashion, Taking down this boss is also a pain, since you have to hit her 8 times without hitting the bottom of the screen, and if you do that, Gozer's health returns to normal and you have to do it all over again. Stop going to the bottom of the screen! How the hell am I supposed to do this? This boss is tough!
To borrow from Ghostbusters, man, you got the tools, you got the talent, and when someone asks you if you're a god, you always say yes.
Huh, good advice, Winston. Let's do this! Take this, Gozer!
This chick is toast!
So after turning her into toast, we get an ending congratulating us on our victory. Or should I say, congratulation? Oh my god, please make this shit stop. Not only do we get congratulated, but we also get proved. You know, for a game that only has 5 sentences in it, it's not like the game's proofreader was overburdened or anything. So how the hell does this stuff even happen? And of course, misspellings aside, what the hell does this sentence even mean? You prove the justice of our culture? Who the hell even says this? I've seen Ghostbusters like 50 times, and not once did I think to say, you know what? These guys just beat Gozer. I think they just proved the justice of our culture. Ugh, utter nonsense. Can I ever get an ending that's satisfying? Especially when it comes to an iconic game like Ghostbusters. Maybe something a little more like this.
Keep on busting, keep on gaming, keep on having fun. Know that we Ghostbusters, we got your back. Take care, Chris.
Now that is an ending.